Okay, I welcome you all. Please let me know if I'm audible and clear and you can hear me properly. Just write yes in the chat box so I know all of you are, hearing me properly. And today the topic is depreciation, and we'll be starting right away. Just let me know that you are hearing me clearly. What is the purpose of depreciation? You know, and I'm looking for answers. Hawa, Shapar, Taha, Maria, just the answers, quick. And market value का कोई लेना देना नहीं है depreciation से, right? Keep this in mind. हम ये इसका भी कोई ताल्लुक नहीं है कि हम कैश चाहते हैं कि कैश accumulate हो या उसके against cash develop हो. So just keep this in mind that we have nothing to do with the market value when you are depreciating the asset, right? And we have nothing to do with the cash inflows when you're depreciating asset. So let me know what are your options quickly. Yes, Shapar, excellent explanation you have given. That's very, very good. Ta, it's correct. I'm switching on your voice. Explain it. Why is that? Your answer is correct. Maria, your answer is also correct. Anik,
Hi,
well try. Yeah, I can hear
uh,
you.
yeah. So, sir, the answer is D because non-current assets are used to generate revenue. So there has to be a cost of generating revenue, right? So depreciation is that cost.
Right. That's correct. Correct. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Shapar, I'm switching on your voice. Just explain what you have just written on the chat box. It's wonderful what have you written.
All right, son, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very well now.
So basically, we calculate the depreciation because we need to match the cost of the productive asset. Now, when we buy an asset, we are making use of it. It's helping in our business in some way or the other, whatever use it has. So we need, whatever benefit we are getting through it is in the form of our revenues. And we need to find out how much it is contributing towards our revenue generation in the end, so that we can compare the value of the asset in comparison to what the actual revenue is earned by that productive asset. So that is what really depreciation tells us.
Great, great. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
So, I mean, what Shapar just told us that, in order to generate revenue, you have to use that asset. And when you're using that asset, it loses its value. It loses value because of wear and tear, because of usage, because of obsolescence, because of technological advancement. So that is why we match the expense with the revenue, and that is why we charge depreciation. Okay, let's move on. Um, Now it's just a disposal account, right? And I just we have done many disposal account in class, so you will have no problem. Cost goes on one side, accumulate depreciation, and cash goes on the other side, which is credit. And then if your net book value is more, then there's a loss, and loss is recorded on the credit side. And this is how you close down the disposal account. Keep this in mind: disposal account is a temporary account, it's not a permanent account, so that needs to be closed down. Always the debit of the disposal account will be equal to the credit of the disposal account. Now, one way to do it is by means of cost. And then there are exam questions, especially in MCQs, where you will not be provided with cost, rather you will be provided with net book value. Now see the next disposal account, where your net book value is compared with cash, and if net book value is more, then it's a loss, right? So either the examiner will give you cost and accumulate depreciation with cash and loss or whatever, or the examiner will give you net book value. If the examiner gives you net book value, you don't need to write cost, right? The examiner will in fact not give you the cost, right? So it will be only the net book value, and you compare it with cash in order to arrive at loss or gain. Next. Now this is again a disposal account with the example of gain. Again, your accumulated depreciation is on the credit side, your cash is on the credit side, your cost is on the debit side, and your gain is on the debit side, right? This is what we have done. Moving on to the net book value of this particular disposal account. Again, अब कॉस्ट और एक्यूमुलेट डिप्रिसिएशन नहीं गिवन है आपको, अब जो चीज गिवन है वो नेट बुक वैल्यू गिवन है. नेट बुक वैल्यू को कैसे कंपेयर करेंगे? इफ कैश इज मोर देन देयर इज अ गेन, एंड दिस इज हाउ इट इज रिकॉर्डेड, राइट? So keep this in mind. This is how we do record these things. Let's start with the next MCQ, right? And let me know the answer, keeping the disposal accounts in mind. Okay, very good. Most of you have given the correct answer. Uh, it's correct, Shapar, correct, correct, Elia. Elia, I'm switching on your voice. Just explain it. अभी हमने देखा भी है उस format में. Just try and explain that. Your selection, your answer is correct. However, just check it out.
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Elia, very well.
So it is asking that which transactions are recorded on the credit side of the disposal. So the answer is C, as accumulated depreciation is recorded on the credit side. Loss, which is an expense, is also recorded on the credit side of the account, and the sale proceeds, the cash or the money we get on the sale of an asset, is also recorded on the credit side. So the answer is C.
Great. Thank you very much. Let's move on to the next question, and let me know the answer. Okay, correct, Taha, correct, Shapar, correct, Elia, correct, Maria, correct, Hawa. Hawa, shall I switch on your voice to explain that? Try and speak. Hawa, could you try it? I couldn't hear you. Taha, Taha, I'm switching your voice on. Could you just explain it so we can move on quickly?
Yeah, so sir, in this question, we will make a disposal account, and the cost is unknown. On the debit side, the cost is unknown, but the profit on disposal is known, which is 8,100. And then on the
Right.
credit side, we have cash, which is 75,600, and then we have accumulated depreciation, which is 45,000. So 75,600 plus 45,000 minus 8,100 gives us 112,500, which is C, and that's the answer.
That's the answer. Correct. Let's see what I have done. I've done almost the same thing. देखिए मैंने क्या किया अभी कॉस्ट को मैंने ब्लैंक रखा है. I have to calculate cost, right? Cost is blank. मैंने कैश सेल्स प्रोसीड रखा है. अनुषे, कमिंग बैक टू योर क्वेश्चन, सेल प्रोसीड्स मींस कैश रिसीव ऑन डिस्पोजल. द कैश यू रिसीव्ड on disposal of the asset or on sale of the asset is also known as cash proceeds or proceeds on sale, or that's quite a British English here. They say cash proceeds or proceed on sale or sale proceed. They use these words for cash receive on disposal, right? So that is the cash receive on disposal, accumulated depreciation, the gain, and you know that the gain is written on the right side. I mean, on the left side, and on the right side you have accumulated depreciation, and you have uh, the cash. So the missing figure is, all you have to do is to add the credit side and deduct the gain from it. Check. अब मैं आपको आंसर शो करता हूं. That is the cost which Taha just told us, right? Anushe, is it okay? Anik, I'm glad you gave two correct answer. Check it out and let me know if it is correct with you. Let's move on to the next MCQ. Okay. Uh, Most of you again, Shapar, correct. Taha, correct. Elia, correct. Hawa, correct. देखिए, एक कैपिटल और रेवेन्यू एक्सपेंडिचर को पहले समझने की जरूरत है. कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर इज एनी एक्सपेंडिचर फ्रॉम which we derive benefit for more than one accounting year, and the expense is significant, material, large, right? सो इस केस में क्या चीज लार्ज है जो हमारे लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है, और जिससे बेनिफिट हमें ओवर वन अकाउंटिंग ईयर मिलेंगे, राइट? अगर कोई चीज आप अपग्रेड करते हैं तो आई बिलीव क्वाइट अ सिग्निफिकेंट अमाउंट इज इन्वेस्टेड इन ऑर्डर टू अपग्रेड द एसेट। और अगर कोई नया एसेट इंस्टॉल करते हैं तो यू नो दैट इज अगेन अ कॉस्ट that is significant, right? So as most of you have given the correct answer, the two items that are part of capital expenditure, one is installation here and the second is upgrading the press, right? So there we are. Maria, is it fine with you? Anik, let me know. Anushe, is it okay with you? Okay, let's move on to the next question. That's interesting. It's an easy theory question, and give yourself time, but come up with correct answer this time. Okay, time waiting for your reply, Haris. Uh, let's see. I will explain it to you in a while. Elia, your answer is correct. I'm switching your voice on, and I want you to explain uh, all the options, and I want you to explain why the other options are incorrect. Right, Elia? I'm
So,
switching your voice
yeah.
on. Yes,
Sir,
good
can you
girl.
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
So it is said that an item of expenditure, capital expenditure, is treated as a revenue expenditure, which means that our expense is overstated, and you can say asset which is understated. So
Right,
if we start from A, assets, they are not overstated, they are understated as capital expenditure is not recorded. Next is profit,
right,
which is overstated. It is also incorrect because revenue expenditure is treated as expense in our income statement. So profit is not overstated. It will reduce our profit.
right. Correct.
Next is B. As I explained earlier, assets are not overstated, yet profit is understated. But it's an MCQ, so one is wrong and the other is correct. So B
We'll
cannot be an
consider.
option.
Yeah, we'll consider
And
that wrong, right?
yes, and the same goes with C. Assets are understated, but profit is not overstated. So C is also not an option. The correct answer is D, as assets are understated because we have not recorded capital expenditure, and profit is also understated as we have recorded revenue, and it means that we have recorded expense, so it will reduce our profit, so the profit is understated.
Okay, brilliant, excellent. What I'm doing here is just rephrasing what Elias said with an example. Suppose you bought motor vehicle, right? You're supposed to record motor vehicle, which is an asset. You did not write motor vehicle at all. अब अगर आपने motor vehicle लिखा ही नहीं है कहीं books में, तो your assets are understated. Am I right? You bought motor vehicle, which is a capital expenditure, right? You bought motor vehicle of 20,000, and that is a capital expenditure. That is a capital expenditure means non-current asset. So your assets, you have not recorded the assets, so assets are understated. And on the other hand, rather than writing motor vehicle, you recorded at motor vehicle expense. So you recorded at 20,000 as expense, and you charge your expense to your income statement, so your income goes down, right? So that is a revenue expenditure. You recorded motor vehicle expense. So you recorded expense up overstated by 20,000. Your profit will be understated by 20,000, right? So Anushe and Anik, let me know if it is clear with you. Like, you have not recorded a capital expenditure. Capital expenditure is non-current asset. So you've not recorded non-current assets, so assets are understated. And then you recorded the same amount as revenue expenditure. So revenue expenditure is recorded in the income statement, and your profit has gone down. So your net profit is also down. Let's move on to the next one. It's very, very easy. You have to calculate only 6 months depreciation on a straight line, right? And this time I expect 100% correct results. Okay, correct. Correct, Shapar. Correct, Elia. Maria, check out. Let's see what Shapar is explaining. Shapar, I'm switching on your voice. Could you please explain this? Anik, check it out.
All right. So am I audible?
Yep.
Okay. So the lorry cost of 50,000,
Right.
and it was bought on 1st January 2015. So, and it has the estimated residual value. So residual value is the other name of scrap value.
Oh, brilliant.
And
See, listen, I'm interrupting. Sorry, Shapar, but look, I mean, you need to understand the terminology. She has very good understanding of different words used by the examiner for the same meaning. So these are interchangeable terminologies. Anushe, Anik, listen. Listen what she's saying. She has a fairly good idea what different terminologies the examiner can use. Shapar, come back, please. Repeat that again.
all right, so the formula for straight line method is basically to subtract the cost with the scrap value or the residual value and divide it over the useful years. So over here, the question says the useful year is 4 years. So
Right.
we subtract 50,000 by 10,000, you get 40,000, and you divide it by 4, which gives you 10,000. 10,000 now, it's the depreciation has been asked for 6 months, starting from the 1st of January 2015 till the 30th June of 2015. That means that makes 6 months. So you have to divide it by 2, and this is how you get 5,000, which is A.
That's
Basically,
correct.
into 6 divided by 12.
Yeah, perfect. Let's see. I've done exactly the same thing. Let's see my answer. It's cost minus scrap value divided by useful life in years. And cost is, as Shapar just told us, 50,000. And scrap value is 10,000 divided by useful life is 4,000. Then 40,000 divided by 4, 10,000. And as Shapar said, 10,000 per annum. And you have to calculate it for 6 months. Maria, is it fine? For 6 months, you have to multiply it by 6 or divide it by 12 or divide it by 2 only, whatever the case may be. You get 5,000 as your answer, right? Uh, Maria, let me know if it is okay with you. Anik, let me know if it is fine with you. Anushe, and then we are moving on to the next question. Start. Okay. Uh, Now, um, fine, Anushe. It's I'm repeating this again. The disposal account cost is on one side, cash is on another side, accumulated depreciation is on another side, and loss is another side. Right? This is how we prepare the cost disposal account. We did it in the class as well. Look at the next one where this is net book value. I'm repeating it again. Why? Because it I want to make it clear. If net book value is compared with cash, then there's a loss. We don't write the cost, we don't write the accumulated depreciation, because cost minus accumulated depreciation is net book value. So exactly the same ledger, but with net book value. So you don't write the accumulated depreciation. You write net book value on the debit side, you write cash on the credit side, and you write loss on the credit side. Move on to the next one. Your disposal account bana hua hai with gain. So cost and gain on one side and cash and accumulated depreciation on the other side. Right? If we move on to the next one with net book value in case of gain. Now in case of gain, net book value से ज़्यादा cash receive हुआ. So net book value debit, gain debit, and cash credit. Now I'm moving on to the question, and this is something which I like. It's a good question, right? Just take your time. I will give at least 2 minutes to you, or in fact 3 minutes to do it, and do it on a piece of paper. Uh, you know, so you can end up with the correct answer. Good, Larry. You got the correct answer. Ta, that's correct too. Larry, I'm switching on your voice. Try and explain that. I'm turning on your voice. Okay, Larry, could you please unmute your device? Your device is self-muted. Unmute your device so you can speak and I can hear. Okay, there's something wrong with Larib's device. Let me ask one question before I move on to my solution. Right. My first question is that if you sell an asset for 26,000, right? If you sell an asset for 26,000 and you ended up with a gain of 2,000, what would be the net book value? My question one is, if you sell an asset for 26,000, right? And you ended up with a gain of 2,000, what is your net book value of the asset? 26 minus 224 or 26 plus 228? What is your answer? Anik, Shapar area, correct. It's 24. And then you're depreciating the asset by 10% on the net book value at the beginning of the period. What is the net book value of the beginning of the period? That is 150,000. 10% of it is 15,000. Let's see my answer. How I did it. I did it like, I calculated the loss or gain and the net book value of the asset. 26,000 is my cash, 2,000 is my gain. So what is my value of net book value of the asset, which is 24, right? And then when I make the non-current asset net book value account, my 150,000 is my opening balance, right? Disposal is 24, depreciation is 15, and then I have the closing balance. What I did, I added all of them and then I deducted 150,000, right, from 184,000, because the total was 184,000. So my purchases is 34,000. Now I keep this on. Let me know if I should explain it to you, or is it clear, or is it fine with you? Okay. Anushi, take a screenshot. How I take a screenshot of the question so you will have the question in front of you. Now, my first question is, you sold out an asset, right? And you sold out an asset for 26,000, resulting in a gain of 2,000. लॉस और गेन कैसे आता है? नेट बुक वैल्यू को कंपेयर करते हैं, किससे कंपेयर करते हैं? कैश रिसीव से. कैश रिसीव कितना है यहाँ पे? अगर कैश रिसीव ज्यादा होगा नेट बुक वैल्यू से, सो गेन होगा, और अगर कैश रिसीव कम होगा तो नेट बुक वैल्यू से, तो लॉस होगा. अब यहां कैश रिसीव ज्यादा है नेट बुक वैल्यू से, राइट? इट्स गेन ऑन डिस्पोजल. सो कैश रिसीव कितना है? 26,000, और गेन कितना है? 2,000. तो नेट बुक वैल्यू कितनी होनी चाहिए? दैट वुड हैव बीन 24,000. और depreciation charge हो रहा है on the amount of asset at the beginning of the period. What is the amount of asset at the beginning of the period? That is 150,000. Right? 10% of it is 10% of it is 15,000. Now let's see what I did in my solution. How I just check it. I have got 26,000 cash on the credit side of the disposal account. I've got profit of 2,000 on the debit side. And then the balancing figure is my net book value. And my net book value is 24,000. Now, in my next ledger, where I'm writing the non-current asset at net book value, my opening balance is 150,000. I don't know the purchases. My depreciation is 15,000. My disposal is 24,000, and my closing value, if I add all three together, I got 184,000. 184,000 minus 150,000, I got the purchase figure, which is balancing figure, which is 34,000. Anik, let me know. Anushe, Hawa, let me know if it is okay with you. I'm not moving further. Anusha, the closing net book value in the last question is given, right? All you have to do is to read it carefully. You will get the amount of 145,000. Now, there's another interesting question, right? Take your time, at least 2 minutes to solve it. You may take more than 2 minutes, a maximum of 3 minutes. Tala, Taha, Lare, check out your device also, and try and solve it. This is another good question in the MCQs. Okay, listen, I have a hint for you. आप एक नॉन करंट एसेट्स का कॉस्ट अकाउंट बनाएं, राइट? कॉस्ट अकाउंट में आपको ओपनिंग बैलेंस दिया हुआ है, क्लोजिंग बैलेंस दिया हुआ है और परचेजेस ड्यूरिंग द पीरियड दिया हुआ है, एम आई राइट? और चार आइटम होते हैं उसमें। कौन से चार आइटम होते हैं? ओपनिंग बैलेंस, परचेजेस, क्लोजिंग बैलेंस और डिस्पोजल। सो दो बैलेंस डेबिट साइड पे आते हैं। कौन से दो बैलेंस डेबिट साइड पे आते हैं एलिया? वन इज कॉस्ट एंड द अदर वन इज परचेज, राइट? और दो आइटम्स क्रेडिट साइड पे आते हैं, एक डिस्पोजल और एक क्लोजिंग बैलेंस। सो आपको क्लोजिंग बैलेंस दिया हुआ है, आपको ओपनिंग बैलेंस दिया हुआ है, आपको परचेजेस दिया हुआ है। और दूसरा अकाउंट बना है एक्यूमुलेटेड डेप्रिसिएशन का। और एक्यूमुलेटेड डेप्रिसिएशन में आपको ओपनिंग प्रोविजन दिया हुआ है, क्लोजिंग प्रोविजन दिया हुआ है। ओपनिंग प्रोविजन क्रेडिट साइड पे आता है अनुशे, क्लोजिंग बैलेंस डेबिट साइड पे आता है शापार, एलिया। इस साल का जो डेप्रिसिएशन है वो इनकम स्टेटमेंट के नाम से क्रेडिट साइड पे आता है। रिमेंबर अनुशे, आज भी हमने क्लास में बात की थी, इनकम स्टेटमेंट के नाम से क्रेडिट साइड पे आता है। सो यू हैव गॉट ओपनिंग बैलेंस ऑन द क्रेडिट साइड, यू हैव गॉट इनकम स्टेटमेंट डेप्रिसिएशन चार्ज फॉर द ईयर ऑन द क्रेडिट साइड, योर डिस्पोजल पे जो डेप्रिसिएशन है वो डेबिट हो जाएगा और क्लोजिंग प्रोविजन डेबिट हो जाएगा। आई एम स्टिल गिविंग यू टाइम। मेक टू अकाउंट्स, एक नॉन करंट एसेट्स का कॉस्ट अकाउंट बनाएं और एक एक्यूमुलेटेड डेप्रिसिएशन का अकाउंट बनाएं। और उसमें तीन तीन फिगर्स दिए हुए हैं, चौथा फिगर कैलकुलेट करना है, विच इज एक्चुअली डिस्पोजल इन बोथ द केसेस। जरा ट्राई करें एंड देन विल मूव ऑन। Okay, it's interesting. Please, I suggest you to take a screenshot. Take a screenshot so you have the question with you before I move on, right? Lalib, you did try well, but तुम्हें एक चीज और करनी थी which you are missing out. Otherwise your attempt is good. Uh, have you taken the screenshot? Shall I move on? देखिए next page पे मैं next slide पे move कर रहा हूँ, right? मेरे पास opening balance लिखा हुआ है इसमें, which is 190. मेरे पास closing balance लिखा हुआ है, मेरे पास purchases लिखा हुआ है, am I right? क्या चीज नहीं लिखी हुई है मेरे पास? Disposal. एलिया, शापार, ताहा, अनुशे, अनीक, दुआ, हारिस, माइन, what is not there? Disposal is not there, right? मेरे पास ओपनिंग बैलेंस है, मेरे पास क्लोजिंग बैलेंस है, मेरे पास परचेजेस है। सो मैंने परचेज और ओपनिंग बैलेंस को ऐड किया, क्लोजिंग बैलेंस माइनस किया, तो मेरा डिस्पोजल का अमाउंट आ गया, राइट? अब इसके नीचे देखें, एक्यूमुलेटेड डेप्रिसिएशन का अकाउंट बनाया मैंने, प्रोविजन फॉर डेप्रिसिएशन का। ओपनिंग बैलेंस लिखा क्रेडिट साइड पे, इस साल जो डेप्रिसिएशन चार्ज किया वो लिखा क्रेडिट साइड पे, अनुशे, दैट इज गिवन इन द क्वेश्चन। क्लोजिंग बैलेंस लिखा ऑन द डेबिट साइड, और जो मिसिंग फिगर है ना, दैट इज एक्चुअली डिस्पोजल को चार्ज किया है। सो अब आप देखें, दो चीजें मैं डिस्पोजल को चार्ज कर रहा हूं। एक, मैं उसकी कॉस्ट चार्ज कर रहा हूं, राइट, विच इज कॉस्ट अकाउंट में नजर आ रहा है, मैंने डिस्पोज ऑफ जो एसेट किया उसकी डेप्रिसिएशन, उसकी कॉस्ट है 50,000। और जो मैंने एक्यूमुलेटेड डेप्रिसिएशन उसको चार्ज किया है वो मैंने चार्ज किया है 25,000। मूव ऑन टू माई नेक्स्ट। अच्छा, मैं नेक्स्ट में नहीं जा रहा, आई लीव यू हेयर, कीप दिस इन माइंड। अब डिस्पोजल अकाउंट बन जाएगा और उससे लॉस अगेन आ जाएगा, ट्राई इट ऑन योर ओन। Correct, Elia. Finally, you got the answer. I want other people to unmute them. I'm switching on more than one voice this time. Shapar, uh, Taha, I'm switching on your voices as well. In case if you Anusha, in case if you have any query, Anik, I'm switching on your voices. Elia, you begin, right? Start करें इसको समझाना कैसे समझाएंगी. Your answer is correct. Finally, Elia, you are also self muted. You hear me, Anusha? Elia, unmute your device. Hello. I could not hear any one of you. Shapar, unmute your device and then speak so I can hear you. Taha,
Sir, I actually missed the question because my connection went out. This is
oh
why
no.
yeah, I
Okay.
missed it.
I just go back. At least you can check it from
Yeah,
the
sure.
yeah.
Uh,
Just take a
yeah, thank you.
snapshot. Uh,
Sure.
Go back and write that's the question is. Right. Ta, you online? Elia, I could not hear your voice. Okay. Shapar, have you taken up the screenshot? I'm moving on to the answer. Anusha, take the screenshot of it. Anik.
Yes, sir, I've taken the screenshot and I'm working on this one.
Okay, great. Great. I'm just giving some time for Shapar to run through it. And in the meantime, Anik, Anusha, Elia, you're not speaking anything, or I could not hear you.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. And I want you to explain it.
So, sir, we created the motor vehicle cost account.
Right,
The opening balance is 190,000.
right.
The closing balance is 245,000.
It's correct.
We add what we have bought this year, which is 105,000.
Right,
And when we add both the debit side and we subtract it from the credit side, the disposal, which is at cost, is 50,000.
wonderful.
And then we create the PFD, which is accumulated depreciation account. The
Right,
opening is 25,000. The opening is 75,000.
right.
The closing is 90,000.
Correct,
And the income statement, which is the total depreciation charged for the year, which is written against income statement, is 40,000.
right,
When we add the both credit side and subtract it from the debit side, the answer is 25,000,
right.
which is disposal. So when we create a disposal account,
Okay,
the
okay.
cost
Just
is,
a minute, Elia. I show you the next slide so you can explain it. Right. See my disposal account, and Elia will be explaining it to you people. Yes, Elia, go ahead.
so the disposal account cost is 50,000.
Right,
The cash we have received, we have calculated that. So the
right,
accumulated depreciation is 25,000, as
right,
we have calculated earlier. The loss
right,
which is given in the question is 10,000. When we
right,
add both 25,000 and 10,000 and subtract it from 50,000, the answer is 15,000. The cash
right,
we received is 15,000.
right.
Answer
So
is
the
A.
cash we received is 15,000. Thank you very much, Elia. Brilliant work. Thank you. And let me know if it is okay with you. Is doing the next MCQs on Tuesday, right? Thank you, Elia. Thank you, Shapa. Thank you, Ta, for all your contribution. You know, Anik, I will be switching on your voice in the next class. Okay, it's Allah Hafiz and goodbye from my side, and see you people in the next class on Tuesday. Goodbye.